There it goes, driving away. What's happening? Our J-Swap TSX. It's leaving and not under its own power. Welcome to VTEC Academy. You're about to get schooled. All right, guys, that project's over for a few minutes. We've got a new project. I have just what I've always wanted, a TSX. But this one's different. So you want to ask yourself, why did I pull my J Series out of a perfectly good running TSX? Well, because race car. This is the new J-Swap TSX project. You see, I've always had a dream, two dreams. One of them was to break a bunch of records with an Insight with the K Series. Been there, done that. My other one is to build an endurance race car TSX with a J Series engine. I think it's a perfect combination. Just like the Insight with the K was a perfect combination to break speed records, this is a perfect combination for doing endurance racing. J Series, not a whole lot of shifting, easy to drive, don't have to wring its neck. I think this is going to be the perfect endurance car. So now we're going to take our J Series motor, stick it in here, and we're heading to the track. We took everything out of the silver TSX that we're going to now put in here. This is a J35 that we got out of the salvage yard. We have the mount kit right here from Hasport. We did actually change the transmission. This is not the same transmission we had before. We found one with an LSD. The one we had before was an Accord style one, so there was no limited slip differential. This one has a limited slip differential, so it should be better for racing. By the way, the engine mounts will be available about the same time you see this video. Along with that, we have here our 2008 TL engine harness. We actually took an automatic one and modified it for manual transmission use. More on that in a little bit. We didn't have the backup lights work on the last one. We're going to fix that problem this time around. This particular part of the harness is modified as well from automatic to manual. Normally on the manual there's a smaller plug here, I believe. But anyway, it's been converted over to manual. We have the shifter linkage that came out of an Accord actually. It's the same as a TL for J Series and same as a Accord for J Series. So that's what you want to look for when you look for your shift linkage. This particular downpipe is also off a TL. Automatic manual doesn't make any difference. I can't use the ones off the truck, so they're four-wheel drive, they're different. We have a test pipe because we don't need a cat for a race car. And we have a custom power steering hose we actually had made using parts from this section is from our TSX power steering hose. We had a fitting welded on. This end is from a J Series. We had a fitting welded on, and then we just had this short section of hose made by a local PureTech dealer. Cost us about $100 to have that made. So that's what we need for that. The subframe is the subframe from the TSX, not from the TL, not from the Accord. The reason we don't use those is those are actually wider and it winds up spacing out our lower control arm. We don't want that. We had to modify this. This particular, this was on this side as well. That's for the front mount. We don't care about a front mount. We're only using Hasport mounts and we only need a rear mount for that. But that's the only modification was done to that. That allows us to use a stock steering rack, stock subframe, and basically it gets easy to bolt in at that point. There's one thing we changed from the other swap. We actually swapped transmissions. This transmission is out of a 2008 TL Type S. This has a limited slip differential. The other one was out of a Accord. It did not have a limited slip differential. This is the one we want for racing. This is a Torsen style limited slip differential. We'll see how it works out. I happen to have a Cusco one as well, so if it winds out that one is better, we'll use that one. One thing we haven't really addressed is these catalytic converters are actually low dollar ones from Amazon sales thing. I think I'm going to be switching, again, race car. I'm going to be purchasing the P2R upper fittings, and we'll make our own custom downpipes and header for this application. So we're ready to get this thing in there and get started on this. I think this is going to be an amazing project. This is going to be so fun. a minor adjustment here. Just needs to go to the chiropractor and have a little cracking done. New fender. New use fender.
New to you.
New to me. All right, so this was originally set up as a race car. The motor was already out, but we have to do some preparation before we put the new motor in. This is the subframe that came in the car. As you can see here, this is where the front mount goes. This is actually in the way of our front header pipe. So if you look at this subframe right here, this is the one that came out of our car. We've cut that off. So that's been removed, everything ground down, repainted. That has to come off in order to clear the header. So we've already done that. So since this one's already prepped, we're just gonna trade them basically. We're gonna take this one and put it in. We've already mounted the rack on it. We've already mounted our power steering hose, our modified power steering hose. So it's basically ready to go back in the car. But we do have to do a little bit of work on the car itself before we put it in. So.
Oh, wait, Brian.
Yeah.
What's this on your shirt? MCM?
Mighty Car Mods. I did this, just because of those fans that may have come over here and be watching it. And so I thought, it'd help make them feel at home. So that's why I was wearing it. We actually picked up quite a few viewers when we went over and did that.
No, I think that's my Civic's mad. Mad.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, makes sense.
And why do you love them so much? Why, Martin?
What? Because you can just do so much with them.
These are the transmission mounts. They're not the same. They'll be in the way. So again, those have been removed already. Basically, we're only going to have front, right, and left mounts, the Hasport mounts, in order to hold the motor in there. No longer a front mount. Hasport mounts generally don't use a front mount, so it'll be fine. But let's take a look at the car. So right now, I'm working on taking out the shift cables. The shift cables are zip tied in there. The shift cables are different. These are the shift cables from the 4-cylinder car. They have a different attachment up here. So these are going to come out. Now I don't really have to pull the shifter out. The shifter is the same regardless, but I'm going to pull the whole thing out so we can compare them side by side and you can see what I'm talking about. Other than that, we have to pull out the stock mounts. This one's already been pulled off this frame rail. This one needs to be pulled off this frame rail. I'm going to probably pull the radiator as well so we have room to maneuver, but this will be going back in. This is a nice aluminum race radiator. It'll be going back in. And this car was actually set up with oil cooling. Now, for the K series, they decided to come around this side. Our J series, the filter sits over here, so we're probably going to modify that a little bit and bring the hoses over here near where the oil filter is. Still haven't decided how I'm going to do that exactly. I haven't seen any J series specific solutions. We may wind up doing something like a remote oil filter along with something on the engine actually to do that. So still thinking that through. Aaron, it's you and me, dude.
All right, let's go.
Let's get it done.
This is why they call a proper cage the jungle gym.
Jungle gym. A little shifter 101 here. So we have here the TSX shifter. Notice it's identical to the TL shifter. The difference is the cables. So basically you want cord/TL V6 cables with your stock TSX shifter, and that'll work just fine. The reason this looks different, by the way, is somebody has deigned to wrap it in carbon fiber sticky material to make it look racy. But this is our shifter. I might trade it in for one of those cool K-Tune build aluminum ones. But it is set up here, and we'll install this with our engine. The main difference being this end down here. These cables are held in with E-clips. These are held in with small M6 bolts. So the brackets that is on top of the engine is different. That's why we need to use these V6 cables. This is the stock rear bracket. It came off because the lines for return passed underneath it. And when we did the rack, we had to pull it off. So the half-sport mount mounts on top of this. These are our... Okay, this is our mount kit. This is the brand spanking new Hasport CL9 J-Swap mount kit. We have our passenger side, left-hand drive car, passenger side mount. This bolts on top of the bracket, and then this mount will connect to the engine. We're going to actually put them in separately so you can see how they go. This is the transmission side or driver's side. This bolts to the frame rail. This bolts to the transmission, and this mount connects the two of them together. And this is our rear mount. The rear mount is the same CL9 rear we've been using as a stock replacement mount. And then we have this tricky nifty bracket that jogs over to the back of the block on the J series block in order to bolt that in. So we're going to be now holding the engine in with these three mounts. I think what I am going to do is actually stiffen up the rear mount. I'll probably change this to a 72, but we're going to use 62 on right and left hand sides. Anyway, we need to get them separated. Let's bolt this in to the block, I'm sorry, to the frame rail, this into the frame rail, and this into our subframe. I'm putting in the softer 62. I don't think there's any need to have super stiff urethane on the right and left. We will put the stiff urethane in the rear because that's the one that controls movement. So I actually am trying to discover how much urethane is stiff enough. What is stiff enough for the race car? Alrighty, good to go. Click.
It pinched my finger between the trigger and the bracket.
How fun.
So it kept turning.
Going.
What's that reddish dust flying off?
Rust, you mean?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, it's a Canadian thing.
It's not an Arizona thing.
Not an Arizona thing. Delrin, solid. I love watered down tea.
I like watered down water.
That's the best, honestly.
I like to water my water down with water, except frozen.
Cold, frozen water. Frozen. The combination of water and frozen water is like awesome, particularly here in Arizona.
All right. Oh, He-Man.
Wow, I think I went too far on both. All right.
Been there.
That's what she's.
Exactly. Tighten that down and do some axles, huh?
Yep. Oh yeah, axles. The intermediate shaft we have on this is off of an Auto J series, 2006, or probably any single outlet J series, but it's from an Auto. And the reason is because this joint, we don't have the larger one, so we use the one from the Auto because it's a slightly smaller joint. If you use the one from the manual, it's got a larger spline, and you'll need to have somebody else make the axles. Otherwise, Hasport makes axles for this particular swap. It may not be on the website yet, but you can order them just by emailing orders@hasport.com. So, without further ado, we need to install this axle. There it goes. Our axle nut is in your hand.
Are we going to relocate this?
Yeah, we're going to relocate this. This is, I don't know exactly how they were routing everything. Obviously around the backside of the motor this way, which to me is kind of odd because I would have stayed away from the header, not crossed where the header was. So we're going to flip it over. These brackets are actually welded in here, so I don't want to take them out and do it again. Axles are in. Cotter pins are all in. Everything's torqued down. Oh, your sway bar probably isn't done.
Correct.
Can you get it off?
Yeah. Hey, Kurt.
Fucking tall people. Think they own the earth.
Hey, as long as we're not at Mighty Car Mods, I'm tall, huh? Those guys were so tall.
All right, one thing I should have done before we put the engine in is I should have pulled the sub harness. The sub harness on TLs and TLs, Accords, and TSXs is for the engine harness. This, like an RSX case swap, the harness goes all the way into the engine. On these, it disconnects at the firewall. So I should have done that ahead of time because it would have been much easier.
Well, you wouldn't want too much space, though.
Yeah, to do this because it's not pulling it out. It's not so much a chore. It's putting the other one in. So,
But you know, after doing this so many times, it's kind of like you want to make it a little bit more difficult for
maybe
yourself.
challenge myself. You mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to challenge myself.
It's really just you against you.
It's yeah. My preference is to ask somebody else to do it. I should be able to do this without looking, and I did. Okay, that's done. Now I gotta climb through the monkey bars, disconnect all the stuff underneath the dash, and push it out while Aaron here pulls this out the other side.
He already has a fire suppression system in here?
Pardon me?
A fire suppression system?
Yes.
Nice.
Here's something interesting I just noticed. This Accord harness or TSX harness, actually it's an Accord harness, it's been converted for use with a Honda. So that means this car is no longer drive-by-wire. So this has been using a K-Pro. So what we need to do now is we need to go find a throttle module, and we need to find the accelerator pedal position sensor, plus we need to find the probably the proper throttle pedal and throttle cable, and convert this back to drive-by-wire. All right, so
Can we just take that out of the silver car?
we can take it out of, actually we have the white front end chassis out there.
Okay.
We can take it out of that. And we take it out of the silver car too, the crash car. Although I think I might have taken that out already.
Oh no, I meant the other silver.
Oh no, no, no! I don't want to take it out of that.
Okay.
Because
we're gonna keep that J.
Probably not. Yeah, I guess we could take it out of that car. I also have a white front end out there, and I also have the crashed one, silver car. So between those cars, we can certainly find what we need. But we are going to need to put the drive-by-wire parts in this car. And it's, again, accelerator pedal position sensor, which sits right here, the correct throttle cable, the correct throttle pedal if we don't have that, and then, of course, the control module for the whatever. Yay. And we're through. Yay.
Rear bracket?
Rear bracket, yeah. I'm going to make a quick measurement on my wiring because I'm going to have to make a custom harness for it, so I want to know one measurement, and then rear bracket. So I can make appropriately lengthened leads with my custom harness. Next up is a rear bracket. It goes in like this. Surrounds the mount, which is right here. Oh. I've never tried putting this on when there was a header in here.
Is it gonna work?
I'm sure it will. When the motor's hanging by just the right and left mount, the diff is very heavy and it causes the engine to tip forward. So in order to get everything to line up properly, I have to lift the back of the motor. From there I can get the bolts in the back of the block, then lift it enough so that I can get access to the bolt hole that goes through the rear mount. So that should be about right. Get 3 of the bolts from the bottom. The 4th one's gonna have to be installed from the top. I'll just chop the tip off and just repurpose the 90 to give me more clearance away from the skid bar stuff. Well, I think if you went oval pretty heavy in the middle, so I would just cut it like that. It would be fine. Just cut it like that. Okay, we just got the TSX back from Chris Sadowski. He actually finished out our exhaust. We decided to go something kind of unique. We started to build it, but it just seemed like it was going to take us too long, so I passed it on to him. He did it at his shop, and he finished up what we'd already started. So what we're doing with this is we're actually running 2 individual exhausts all the way back, rather than what normally happens with a J is they join the front and the back cylinders underneath the engine with kind of a quick 180-degree turn, and then all the way back. We just went 2.5 inches each side all the way back. I'm really curious how it's going to sound and whether or not it's going to make more power. To me, I think it's kind of a unique setup. Obviously, we don't have totally equal lengths on each side, so the sound may be kind of interesting as well. But we wanted to try something new, so that's what we did. Now, to make our exhaust, what we wound up doing is we wound up using some cast pieces that are available at Power to Rev Racing that actually bolt onto the heads. That way we could get rid of the catalytic converters. Remember, this is a race car, not a street car, so no catalytic converters on it. And basically we just built one pipe. The front came all the way back to this right side, and the rear comes all the way back to this left side. I really want to hear what it sounds like and see what's up.
You gonna Dukes of Hazzard it?
This little witch wire wear scare harness is actually our new conversion harness. Now Honda makes a conversion harness and sells it, but we're going to put this computer that we're using for our race car in 3 different cars. We have it in our supercharged EG, we're going to put it in a J series powered CRX, and we're of course putting it in the TSX. So rather than switching the swap harness with it as well, we decided to make our own harness. Now this is kind of a copy of the Honda one, so I'm not really going to give that information out on how we built it. You need to buy your own if you're interested in doing something like that. But we are constructing it. We wanted to kind of separate out the fuel pump and some of the other things with their own individual fuses, and the Honda doesn't really do that. It kind of has one general power. So we're making a few changes. We're going to install it in our TSX, and hopefully we can get this thing fired up later today and hear what that crazy exhaust sounds like.
Here's our, looks a little messy right now, but throw some loom and some tape on it. Here's our new harness for the TSX V6 project. Just tested it in the EG just to make sure it works, since we already know this runs. Found a couple issues. The teacher didn't mark up too many bad things. You still got about a B-. It's passing. So just had to make a couple notes, and yeah. Then we'll make another one for the CRX here in the next couple weeks. And probably another one for something else. I don't know.
Brian, you ready to test your harness, your handiwork?
Yes.
Yes. All right, so let me show you what we had to do here. Our battery had about 2 volts, so we eliminated the battery, put that big honking one over there, connected with the cables. Now we have our starter connected to it as well. We're gonna turn it on 80 amp. We tried it once, didn't, and it just barely turned over, so we're here for second try.
Ready to rock?
Here's his handiwork. Isn't that sweet and clean?
Well, except for that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of goofy right there, because we actually found a bad fuse. We tried turning it on earlier, and you had to press the fuse to get it to turn on. It was like total BS. All right, so here we go.
You got fuel pump.
All right.
Let me make sure it's in neutral.
I think it is. If it shoots off towards the other car, kill it. Oh. Woohoo! All right, Brian. There was never any doubt, though, was there? You tested this harness on the EG?
Yeah, I had confidence.
You
I
had
was more worried
confidence.
about the chassis.
All right, I'm going to get behind it, give it a couple revs.
Oh, it sounds good.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
Oh!
That's funny.
Wow, that's kind of a unique sound. Well, we're gonna have to get this thing tuned. Actually, I think we probably need some coolant and a radiator. And,
Yeah, we should probably finish the rest of the little things.
all the yeah, things that allow us to drive it.
I just wanted to know we had something to work with first.
Yeah, yep. All right, cool. All right, we're good?
Good to go.
Let's button this thing up. Right on. It has an interesting sound, and I think it has to do with the fact that it's 2.5-inch exhaust, Remember, basically what we've done, we split this engine in two. We've got 1.75 liters running through one side, and another 1.75 liters running through the other, 2.5-inch exhaust. And I think that thinner exhaust is kind of keeping it from having that deep throaty sound that we had earlier with our other TSX, which had the 3-inch skunk exhaust on it. So not totally sold on this particular idea, but we're going to tune it, see what it does, and if it doesn't cost us horsepower, it's pretty quiet actually. So it might actually be legal to take to some of the tracks that have strict sound requirements. So interesting. I'm now kind of curious to see how it's going to work out. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. We got a lot more work to do on this to get it out on the track. Next episode, we should have our cooling system in there, hopefully get the dash working, and we'll take it to the track and see what it does. So guys, thanks for checking out VTEC Academy once again. Please think about liking and subscribing. That helps us reach more people. I am super stoked about this J35 project and getting it out on the track, see what it does. And Brian, awesome job. Absolutely fantastic. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.